Hello, my name is Amanda Harity, and this is my presentation on my community. I will be looking at the little overview of the state of Pennsylvania, and then the city of Philadelphia, and then a little bit of a highlight on the East Falls section or zip code 19129, and that's specifically where I live. We're looking here at the state of Pennsylvania. As you can see, it's made up of many counties, and the Philadelphia is down here in this little corner. It's the largest population county-wise within the state, with about 12 million, or sorry, the state itself has 12,702,379 residents. As a state, it is predominantly white or Caucasian, non-Hispanic, at roughly 77%. Then you can see the breakdown at 11% Black African American, and about 5% Hispanic. Looking at the city of Philadelphia, where I live, and that was in that little corner of the state. This is one of the largest populations by county, and we have about 1,526,006 residents within the city limits. The median age is about 33 and a half years old. It is predominantly female, just by a few percent. And then if we look at the population by race, this is very different from the rest of the state. About 39% white or Caucasian, non-Hispanic, about 40% Black or African American, and about 8% Hispanic. And so this breakdown kind of varies from the rest of the state, which is cool because it adds a nice diversity, and you can learn a lot from each other. So it's important to me. Looking down into 19129, so this is the specific area in which I live. The median age here is just below that of the rest of the city. It's roughly 31.6, and that probably has to do with the college and university that is in the area. So there are a lot of college students that live here. There's also just a lot of young families that have moved to the area. The population of my zip code is about 10,975, and these numbers are based off the last U.S. Census numbers. In this particular section, it's about 56% white Caucasian, 35% Black or African American, and about 4% Hispanic. So it's a little different than the city, which is still, again, a little different from the rest of the state breakdown. Just to give a comparison of crime rate in Philadelphia versus East Falls, city of Philadelphia over here, I took kind of a sample chunk of the last month, so the month of October for both sides. For the city of Philadelphia as a whole, there have been about 1,096 violent crimes, anything from homicide to rape, assault. In the area of East Falls, about 5 violent crimes in the last month. And looking at property crimes, and that's anything from burglary, theft, and auto-related, about 3,904 within the city of Philadelphia. And then in the little subsection of East Falls, about 31 property crimes. So this, as discussed within the Ohio State University fact sheet, one of the first things that's mentioned is safety. So this was really important for me to look at. I feel safe within my neighborhood, but how does that really compare to the rest of the city? So it's interesting to see that breakdown between the two. So another thing to look at are institutions within the different communities. So Philadelphia as a whole has about 224 public schools. You see the breakdown. 151 elementary, 16 middle, about 57 high schools, about 84 charter schools, 82 private schools, and then 23 college or degree granting institutions. I think schools are important to look at because it's a full access to education, and so you can look at how is the education or the population being educated. Is there easy access to get to the schools, and then what are the varieties of schools to look at? And I just find it interesting that there's so many college or degree granting institutions within the city limits. So there's a lot of access to higher education, which then also pulls in a lot of people from surrounding counties and surrounding states as well. So that kind of mixes into the population as a whole, and then funding and um, the economy. So it's all kind of layered on each other. And then within my local community, we have 4 public schools, 2 charter schools, one of which is William Penn Charter High School, which is a predominant local high school. It's been around for a while. Put a sign up for it as the Pennsylvania Historic Landmarker. Private school, there's Queen Lane Montessori School, and then we have the Drexel College of Medicine, and then also Philadelphia University, which was recently bought out by Thomas Jefferson University. So I believe the official name is now Philadelphia University and Thomas Jefferson University East Falls campus. So again, that has an effect on the local community who lives here. So a lot of college students. So there's a lot of renters in the area too. And again, the college offers a lot of employment for people in the local community. As a level of education as a whole within Philadelphia, if you look at over the age of 25, there's about 966,197 individuals. And then kind of looking at the population within that of graduated from high school versus went to school and graduated with their doctorate degree. Again, looking at the population-wise, there are slightly more females than there are males within the city over the age of 25. And just kind of looking at the difference of, the females stay pretty much ahead of the males going down the line until we hit the doctorate level, professional degree, and the doctorate level. That's where it kind of takes a switch. So it's just interesting to look at. And the same within 19129. Just the level of education within the area. Again, there's more females than males, and when it comes to some of the higher education levels, the women stay ahead until we get to the doctorate degrees, and then there's a big flux in the area of males versus females. But just looking at the level of education within the area and how educated is the population, so that takes an effect on the community as well. Some of the formal institutions in the area, looking at levels of employment, an opportunity for growth within the city of Philadelphia is a major hub for employment, whether it's working in Philadelphia or the fire department, police department, DHS, anything that falls under city employee. And then there's also SEPTA is a large employer in the area, Comcast, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Jefferson University, Temple University Hospital, Temple University in general, Thomas Jefferson University Hospital, just to name a few. And then even locally, we have Vault and Vine, which is a coffee shop slash flower shop that just opened over the summer. So more formal institutions there are, and provides opportunity for people within the community to for employment, but also for things to do. SEPTA for transportation to get around. Children's Hospital of Philadelphia is one of the top children's hospitals around. People know it, so it has a lot of standing to the name as well. Some informal institutions. I just kind of looked specifically at my local area. East Falls Sports Association for children and adults to get active, stay involved in sports, and camaraderie of meeting people from the neighborhood and getting involved in a team with them. We have the farmers market, which is comes up every week throughout the summer. Opportunity for local vendors to sell and for community members to come together. The beer garden does the same thing for that. And then one of the large churches in the area, St. Bridget's Catholic Church, they hold a lot of different festivals and flea markets. So again, getting the community involved in kind of a non-formal way. Now, why is 19129 a good community? For me, and looking at, again, with the Ohio State University fact sheet, looking at Safety, goods and services, community relationships, predictability, structure. I think my community really offers that. Have the bits of the neighborhood watch, which is good. Lots of locals, restaurants, bars, coffee shops, mom and pop shops. A lot of it's within walking distance. So even just within the community, there's access to food, access to entertainment, access to things that bring the community together in festive ways. Access to public transportation. There's lots of bus stops and there's a train stop right here. And just in general, there's a lot of camaraderie and respect within the people that live here. People stop and say hello on the street. People introduce themselves as they're moving in. When I first moved to this area, I had about 6 or 7 people from the block come up and introduce themselves and welcome me to the neighborhood. So that gives an all-around good feel. And then also Philadelphia as a whole, I think, is a good community. It hits a lot of the aspects of what people look for within what makes a good, healthy community. There's lots of things to do, entertainment institutions, the zoo, sports teams, the convention center, which brings in major things like the governor or the Pennsylvania State Women's Conference, community resources and public transportation, low-income housing, public libraries, hospitals, shelters, mental health services. So there's a lot to help people, help the community. Neighborhood festivals and diversity of the residents helps to, we can learn from each other, and it really gives a vibrant feel to the city. And then different learning opportunities through colleges and universities, historical landmarks, and history museums. So there's just a lot to do in Philadelphia, and I love living in East Falls. So all of this to me has a good feel of what really makes a good community, and it's a place where I want to stay, and to me that all comes together for a good community. And here are list of the resources that I use. So I hope you all enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to seeing yours as well.